So now we're up to turn 2 in Holy War Afghanistan. This is the summer of 1978. And we start with the communist player turn. And so the communist government rallies two more factions to their cause. And one is the Afghan KHAD, which is a secret police unit that has a special ability that it can mobilize its forces on their reliable sides as opposed to the unreliable side. The other unit is the NW Front. So the 1st Airborne Front is mobilized in Kabul, and the 4th Secret Police Task Force, as well as a political front, are also placed in Kabul in their reliable state. Also, the 4th Armored is mobilized in Qom. But since the Afghan government player doesn't have any agitation propaganda chits, I'm not able to upgrade any of the units. The government strategy this summer is going to be to focus on the capture and the occupation of the city Mazar-Shari. Also, there will be concerted effort to eliminate the resistance cells that are near Kabul. The Soviet intervention policy has to remain at the lowest level. It is still support, but it's a very low level of support. It's the least intrusive policy, and of course that's mandated for turns 1 and turn 2, and then that can change later on. Also, the socialist revolution remains in effect. That's also mandated, so that does have some advantages for the government, but it costs them political points. So again, I used the Soviet Air Force to interdict against the cadre cell near Jalalabad, but this had no effect. So I also used the Afghan government Air Force to attack that area also with interdiction, and that too had no effect. So we're not seeing much effect from the Air Force, the air power at this point. The next thing that I did as the government was to use some subversion attacks. So I made a political attack with the units in Kabul against the cadre just to the east, and unfortunately it had no effect. So I then decided to use the 2nd Communist Party front to use a subversion attack at Qanduz, but that also fails. And what I'm trying to do is to convert the area to popular support. So I went to the military and used an effort to try to reoccupy the city of Mazar-Shari. And I had an Afghani government armor and a political unit try to engage the resistance forces in the city. And it turned out that there were actually 3 reliable guerrilla groups in the city. And they have an intelligence rating of 2 against the tank division's intelligence rating of 0. So that's not good for the government. And the guerrillas are so concentrated here, they want to hold the city, so they use the conventional combat results table, and the government forces end up annihilated. So that didn't go well at all. This is not proving to be a good turn for the government. Also, I had the 4th Secret Police Task Force attack the guerrillas in the town of Qada Ashro, just to the west of Kabul. These rebels do pose a direct threat to Kabul, so I want to try to do something about them. And so this time, the communists' government has the advantage. They have a 4-rated intelligence unit, and the government unit also has the benefit of ground support from helicopters. So I decided to use the conventional combat results table. And as a result, the government wins a tactical victory and the guerrilla unit is destroyed. So the town falls back into the government's hands. Next, I decided to have the 4th Infantry Division with a tank division attack the resistance's cadre just to the east of Kabul. The rebels have the intelligence advantage here, a 3 rating against the 0 rating of the tanks. And so the resistance chooses the guerrilla table, but fails to gain any result. The communist forces use a conventional table and get attrition, which eliminates the rebel cadre. So that one worked out. Finally, in the last move, the 2nd Secret Police Task Force launched an attack against the rebel cadre enclave near Jalalabad. The government here has an advantage of a 4-3 in intel ratings. So the secret police use the conventional table, and the rebel cadre is lost to attrition. So at the end of the turn, the political index stands at 54, and the government still controls Kabul. So now I go to the Afghani resistance player turn, and because of the political situation that's in effect, 4 political chits are drawn for the resistance, and they end up getting 2 agitation propaganda chits and 2 action chits. And one of the action chits is resistance disunity. And so this could be canceled out if I had 5 agitation propaganda chits, but I don't. So I have to resolve this issue. And as a result, the Hezbi Islami, which is a moderate faction, decides to leave the rebel coalition. So that wasn't good for the resistance. The agitation and propaganda chits can be used to support from within the resistance organization. So I'm going to save those for that. The other action is the USSR situation. So I had to resolve that, and what ended up happening is that there was an uprising in the Soviet Union, out of the theater, so the Soviet 66th Mechanized Infantry Division had to be recalled from the Afghan theater and to be redeployed to the home front. So that actually was a good event for the Afghani resistance. So then I decided to mobilize 3 guerrilla groups with a Hezbi cadre in Kush, and then 5 more guerrilla groups were assembled in the north by the Jamiat faction. And I used an agitation propaganda chit to make some of these northern sector guerrillas on their reliable side. And I used the 2nd agitation propaganda chit to make the units in Kush reliable. Also, the PRC cadre, People's Republic of China, is deployed in Peshawar. So as the resistance, I decided to make an effort to secure as many towns as possible with occupation by my various guerrilla groups. So I was able to move one group into the western town of Kalahainau. Another guerrilla group moves into Chagar Harim in the Kush Mountains. And then the resistance also decided to make an attempt to capture the city of Herat. So 3 guerrilla groups are moved into that area, and there's also fighting continuing around the town of Kata Ashro near Kabul. Let's see how these pan out. So the rebels launch an attack against the city of Herat, and they have the popular support there, and they have a 2-1 intelligence advantage over the Afghani 9th Infantry Division of the government. So the attackers elected to use the guerrilla table. Due to the city terrain, the attack ends up yielding no result. So a tactical victory is actually scored by the defenders, and one guerrilla unit is destroyed, and the other one is forced to retreat. So that didn't go the way I hoped. But I decided to make a second effort with another guerrilla group that's just outside the city. And this time, the Afghani government's 9th Division is lost to attrition, and the city falls to the resistance. At Kandahar, the Pakistani Islam Volunteer Division attacked the government forces within the city. The defenders there were the government's 17th Infantry Division. So the Pakistanis decided to use the guerrilla table, and the Afghani 17th Infantry Division was lost to attrition. So the Pakistani division occupied Kandahar. Now, just outside of Kabul, in the town of Qada Ashro, a resistance guerrilla group prepared its attacks against the 4th Secret Police Task Force there. This is a very good unit. It has the intelligence advantage 4-2 over the resistance. And consequently, the secret police unit chooses the conventional results table, and the guerrilla group ends up destroyed by attrition. So then I go to the Yurga Loya stage, and the resistance this turn made substantial gains and received 6 political points for the occupation of cities and towns, and the Afghani government ends up losing 10 political points because they're still under the socialist revolution strategy this turn. However, due to their occupation of Kabul and other various cities and towns, the government still does receive 13 points in its favor. But in the end, the political index swings to 57 in favor of the resistance. And now the socialist revolution chit is discarded, and we go on to turn 3. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.